viewers, and welcome to another edition of our women's program, Karimpe. Today we are gathered here to celebrate a very important and a significant day, and that is the International Women's Day, which falls every year and is celebrated on March 8th. Well, this day is kept exclusively to celebrate the women in all of her role and achievements that she has been doing, be it the social, the economic, the political, the cultural, etc. But then, this is also a day where we collectively rethink about the areas, the grey areas, the challenges, the bias that the woman still suffers from. As I said, while celebrating the women, we also need to look at those areas which are still very, very much against her, and what more needs to be done collectively as a society. And this year, to celebrate the International Women's Day, the UN has given a clarion call towards the digital gender divide that is being realized, and the lack of digital technology or the lack of digital education that women particularly suffer from. And what is it that it kind of impacts on her, to women and girls, especially this lack of digital education on the social and the economic factor of her being. So we will take a look at it also, and what are the ICT related, that is the digital online violence also that women suffer from, and which is also a feature that needs to be addressed. Well, this is some idea that I've given you in which we will be discussing this program today, and to tell me all about it, all about the significance of the day and why we need to celebrate the women for all of our achievements and what more needs to be done, we are being joined here in the panel in Doordarshan Shillong by three very eminent personalities. And let me just go ahead and introduce them to you. We have on my extreme left Dr. R. Jennifer War. She is currently the Dean of Academics at the Martin Luther Christian University, and she's also the head Center for Gender in the same institute. We are also joined right in the center with Dr. Ardonista Lingdo. He is the Assistant Professor of the Department of Social Work of MLCU. And what triggered me to a lot of interest is the topic that he has done research in, which is titled The Matrilineal Social System and Its Implication on Masculinity Among the Khasis. We will be looking at it, and I'm sure he has to say a lot on this as well. And of course, beside me is Pidar Rilin Uriah. She is the Associate Project Lead from the Northeast Network. So there you have it. A very warm welcome to each one of you to this program. Thank you so much for giving us your time and for coming to the studios of Doordarshan to discuss this very important day today and the significance of it as well. Well, viewers, we will be coming back to our panelists in a little while from now, but quickly let's go ahead and watch a short clip that has been arranged for you and for all of us to see. We will come back, so join us in a little while from now.
The 8th of March this year, 2023, is once again the International Women's Day. The theme this year, DigitAll, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. In this fast-paced world where everyone is on a techno mode, the women in developing countries still face discrimination. Access to education, basic rights and liberty is still a far cry. Moreover, especially in a country like India, where the birth of a girl child is received with gloom and despair, in spite of the country having progressed in leaps and bounds in terms of technology. It is thus up to the lawmakers at the helm of politics who need to do much more to bridge this gap of gender parity. Female feticide is still a sensitive issue, even though it is still rampant in our Indian society even today. It is therefore only through education that a society can develop and the girl children can grow into adulthood and thus strive towards a better future for themselves as women, and in turn hold the reins of the family's future. It is only then that we can surely say that the world can march together with men and women at the forefront, thus enabling the innovation and technology for gender equality.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and well, as I would like to begin, with Jennifer. Women, of course, I mean, she is the most important, I think, person in the society, right? I mean, we do have the men also, but she plays such an important role. Often she is hidden, she is not given the right recognition. So we are here to celebrate this day. Of course, she should be celebrated every day, but this day has 8th of March is kept exclusively to celebrate the women. Please tell us, what do you feel? How significant is this day?
Well, rightly said, I think we should be celebrating women every day, but since a dedicated day has been designated March 8 as International Women's Day, I would like to focus on the SDG, Gender Equality and Sustainable Development Goals. We claim that we are ahead, especially in terms of matriliny, the Khasi woman. I'll come to that later. But in terms of gender equality, if you look at the SDG indicatives, for example, 54% of women are out of formal education. 1 in 10 women face sexual violence. It will take us at least 286 years for the gender disparity gap to be reached. So there we are. That is the significance and the need of celebrating this particular day to give importance to women.
Yeah, and that is why the focus is again and again on the gender disparity, the inequality, the bias, and all the discrimination that women is still suffering from. The figures that you've quoted are quite alarming indeed, and that should ring a bell to all of our minds. I come to the gentleman who has been brave enough to join us in this program, and we are so thankful to you, really, Ardhanista, for joining us in this program. As I said right in the beginning, your thesis that you have submitted, the matrilineal social system and its implication on masculinity among the Khasis. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, actually I did a study on the implication of masculinity among Khasi men, and the trigger part is what I found out from the study is that the definition of masculinity among the young generation has changed.
Okay.
For instance, younger generation would define masculinity being if a man can provide love, care and affection. That is very significant. And if men work hard and have a wider worldview and sensitive to all gender, that is a real man, according to my findings.
Right,
in
fantastic,
short, yeah.
fantastic. Okay, all right, let me just come to Pida here. Pida, tell us, why we should celebrate the women, because she has so much of achievements to also focus into.
No, I think over the years, no matter what we say, women are in different fields. Women are doctors, women are engineers, they are in various fields. But when we look at the reality of it, women still face violence every day. And understanding that is important. Not equality, but equity, the opportunity to come out and to view our opinion and to live a violence-free life is something that we want to look at.
Right, right.
Yeah, and in the previous year, we saw cases of violence rising rapidly. Just recently, through our research, we saw that Meghalaya ranked 3rd in the Northeast when it comes to crime against women. So celebrating women is fine, but addressing the issue of violence against women is equally important.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. And therefore I come to you, Jennifer. We live in a matrilineal society where women are supposed to be, in that, that ladder high up. The reality, please tell us, how is she faring in the real terms, in the real society that we live in?
Yeah. We do have a lot of advantages as compared to women elsewhere, okay, because we perpetuate the clan, the bloodline passes from the daughter, and then there's no dowry system. Yeah, we inherit and we can buy land in our names.
Right.
Cohabitation is not a taboo. Okay, we can choose our own partner. Marriage is not under any compulsion. But they also, it's not all about fancy being a matrilineal Khasi lady. Okay, there are many myths about matrilineal. For example, because the bloodline is through the woman, so that social control or the honor is also tied to the woman. Right. So therefore, in terms of social mobility, it is less for the woman.
Okay.
Yeah. Another aspect would be in terms of politics. Okay, we are not supposed to dabble in politics, and there's a very scornful saying which says that Doomsday is near when woman dabbles in politics. That is when a hen crows.
Right.
Yeah, that's another issue which we need to talk about. Political leadership. A third issue is the place that we do not have in the Darbar, because already the name, for example, if a woman wants to be a leader, the terminology, the language itself is Rang Bashnong, which means a man. So there is no space for any political arena for the woman. So these are some of the myths. Of course, in terms of reproductive health, we see that Khasi women, if you look at the NFHS data, we have the highest TFR of 2.9. If you look at the use of contraceptive methods, only 27%. So where are we in terms of our reproductive rights as well?
As well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be coming to that a little bit later, but then I come to our Dinister once again. How toxic is masculinity?
Yeah. So thank you for the question. Basically, when we talk about how toxic can masculinity be or femininity be in that sense, basically when one's expression is being controlled and we're not able to express what we really want, that's how toxic it can be. For example, if I am a man at home, if I would like to challenge the gender norms and I would like to perform the opposite role of what I'm not supposed to do. For instance, for very basic as washing of clothes or changing diapers of the baby. Okay. My mother-in-law would definitely look at my wife and giving her with that eye, saying that is not his role. That's how toxic it could be. For even for men who are sensitive, who wants to challenge the gender norm, they are not allowed to do that. So that's how toxic it could be.
Yeah, this is a very basic example you have given. I'm sure there are a lot of other examples, you know, because often we see that, I mean, do a man feel a little bit, you know, going to the woman's house, living with her? It is said that he is given a lot of roles and responsibilities. Is it that way in reality, or is it changing, you feel? Are men also challenging these kind of roles that is expected from him to be done?
Yes, I think it's a sorry, can I?
Yeah.
I think it's a privilege for us to serve. Okay, meant like what I have said earlier, we would love to provide love, care, and affection at the highest level if we can, and it's a privilege for us to move to the wife's place and to perform the several duties. But the expectation sometimes becomes very unrealistic. For instance, I may be able to provide love, care, and affection, but because I may not have a better earning, my views of others towards me has changed. So that's how again toxic it can become, irrespective of how gentleman or how sensitive I am. But but the expectation from the society that men should not cry, men should be strong, men should be the bread earner of the family, that puts a lot of effort on young men.
Right, right. Yeah, and you know, Peter, you are also working on the ground. You know, this I think he is talking more in the urban scenario, like the urban scene. Like, what is it like in the rural? It must be worse, or is it more equal actually there, more egalitarian?
In the rural areas, we see, I think, in comparison with the urban, when we look at this, I think in the rural areas they're more at par, but there's always a but that when it comes to, you know, ownership of land, like just for an example, when it comes to planting or, you know, decision to make in the field, how many seeds, what seeds to be planted, the decision is always taken by a man. When the income comes, how much amount he got from this harvest or from the selling of this land, that decision has been taken by a man. Even though the maximum, as per our research and what we've seen in the field, when you compare the work level of a man and a woman, you see a woman would get up at 5, she would do the household chores, look after the kids, send them to school, go to the field, come back, prepare for the, you know, for the dinner, take care of the kids again. But when you look at the man, he gets up, he goes to the field and he comes back. But then at the end of the day, when that income comes to the family, it is the decision of a man of how much will the family spend. How much will the wife get? How much will the children get? So
Yeah, so this is a very sad reality, right? Jennifer, I'm sure
Yes.
you would like to add in and fill us in more on this.
just like to add to what she's saying, because equity and equality is not just having land in our name. It's also
Exactly.
access to those resources. Like she
Exactly.
said,
Yeah.
after the harvest, the money, where does the money go to? Does she have access to that resource? That is not this. That is not equity. Just because we have land in our name, that is not equity.
Exactly, exactly. Now, these are the real terms, examples that you all are giving, which is happening in real. I mean, theoretically, we know there are a lot of good things being written about, matriliny, and the world knows such. But in practice, it is so different, right? And these are the areas that needs to be spoken, addressed, and done something, right? I come to you, Jennifer, again, because a little while back, you also spoke about decision that the woman can or cannot take regarding her own body and the number of children she can have or she can't have. Who plays the role here once again?
Yeah, it should be actually both. I should say both the husband and the wife. But unfortunately, it's not the husband and the wife. Sometimes it's being influenced by culture. It's influenced by the mother-in-law or the mother. It's influenced by religion.
Right.
So there is no assertion of choice here. Forget about information. We don't even have the words to use, for reproductive health, to say let's go and give information about reproductive health. So no information, no choice. How can they make a decision? So if the awareness is not there, it's not possible for any woman to have reproductive rights.
Absolutely, and that is why so often she's burdened with so many children, right? Because her body, it is her body, but she doesn't have any right. She doesn't owe her own body, right? And this is a problem not just in this place. I think all other places also. It's high time, isn't it? A woman should have the ownership of her own body. She should have the. So let us hear from the man himself. What are your thoughts? Because you are representing so many men who are there watching this program. And what kind of change, therefore, is needed at this level also?
Yeah, talking about sexuality and reproduction, I think even the normal terms that is required to talk about, we don't have such terms. For instance, all the reproductive organs and external and internal, we don't have the terms to use as such to talk about it. So it becomes a taboo.
Yeah.
So for instance, the existing words that we have also, they are all related to slangs. So that hence it becomes more difficult even for women or for men to talk about gender, to talk about sexuality, to talk about reproductive, contraceptive and all of that. We don't have a term. So it becomes very challenging for women, it becomes very challenging for parents to talk to their children, to talk to anyone in fact, because we don't have the terminology to use for such terms. Yeah.
Right. Peter, quickly you want to add in this?
Yeah, I would just want to, this is based on the everyday cases that we get in our organization, where many women would come to us for these violence that they face. It can be financial, physical, mental, psychological. But one thing that keeps them holding back rather than coming out from these abusive relationships is because they say that religion and culture.
Okay.
Religion is one thing that holds them back, because the father or the pandit or the pastor would tell them, this is, you're binded in a very sacred relationship. How can you betray it, or how can you walk away?
So you take in all the violence.
So you take it all the violence, and for so many years that we can't even explain. So that is reality also, and these women are just binded in it no matter what. It's really sad to see.
Yeah, it is. It is very sad. I mean, we all along thought, that matriliny puts a woman in such a high pedestal. There is no violence here. I mean, violence we would only think in terms of dowry, which is there in other parts of the state, in mainland India, say for instance, not really here. But there is increasing violence also here, right, Jennifer? The cases are coming, I'm sure. It is not just, it is coming from the tribal society also.
Yes, very much. And when we talk about matrilineal, of course, in Meghalaya, we do have a freedom of mobility when it comes to women, but it's not that they have a violence-free life. I would not
So
say.
why do you think, Jennifer, that this has come? Because was it always like that in this society also, and it was covered up? Because, you know, the manner of violence also has changed, right? I mean, these days we hear too many of refrigerator cases where, you know, women are, literally she is put inside the refrigerator in a very gruesome manner. We hope that such things, incidents we have not heard, and I hope it doesn't really come. But why do you think there is a change also here?
I think remnants of patriarchy is always there, and
Creeping in also, you think?
it's creeping in. It has always been there.
Always been there,
So,
yeah.
for example, take a case of reporting of a case of rape. The moment there is a case of rape, the first question they'll ask is, who was the victim? What was she wearing? Who was she? She was alone at night? What was the time of the act? So these are the questions we ask. We put the responsibility, onus of responsibility on the victim.
On the victim.
Instead of asking who is the one who has committed the crime, so that, you know, we make known, even media has a very important role to play here. When in case of reporting, we say so and so 24 years old who lives here has been raped, not the name of the perpetrator. So even the portrayal of language and media also has a very important role to play here. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let us now come quickly to the digital lack of digital, access to women particularly, and digital technology also, because this is a thrust, a focus area for this time's theme for us to celebrate, Women's International Day. We are just out of the COVID situation where most of our, learning had gone online. And do you think women actually lag, especially girls, they lack this accessibility to digital education?
I think considering the fact that 54% of students of female are out of school, then yes, definitely. Because in the last 2 or 3 years, during the COVID pandemic, we saw that everybody had to have access to any device. It could be a tablet, could be a mobile phone, or could be a computer. And if we have a family of 5 or 6, I'm not sure preference would be given to which gender to say, okay, you take this tablet and you continue education. Yeah, so that's
and there has been quite a significant rise of dropout also ever since thing. Any quick word from it, Minister, on this?
Yeah, I think with the digital innovation and technology coming in for gender equality, I think COVID has shown us how much digital world can open doors for women per se. But the digital divide is very much gapped.
Evident, right.
So that's where.
And I would come to you also, Peter, because this is also another area that is the violence, the online violence, because of this technology again.
Yes.
What is your, what kind of findings or what kind of, you want to share with us on this, the online violence that women, girls especially are facing because they're accessible to technology again. There is a catch-22 situation here, right? Yeah.
Yes. So when it comes to digital communication technology, I think there's advantages and disadvantages, like we all know. And yes, the digital violence is very much happening. I mean, young girls and boys get lured to, various trends and various temptations that they see online.
Yeah, and quickly, I would just like to bring in to attention, a little statistics that has come. A study that revealed that 51 countries revealed that as many as 38% of women actually had personally experienced online violence as well.
Yes,
right?
It's very true.
Yeah.
And I think especially in our rural areas where young children and young adolescents, girls and boys are so involved in the digital world, in social media platforms, Facebook, Instagrams. I think it's very alarming to see the increased rate of violence.
Absolutely,
Yes,
and I think therefore we need adult supervision. You just cannot give a digital, device to your young children and let them be. I mean, I've seen so many parents encourage little children right from their toddler stage. They feel proud of the fact that their children are able to handle a device. But you should also, while taking pride, you should also monitor, right?
Yes,
You
yes.
just cannot leave your wards off to, and you don't know where the child can lead, to which website a child can go, and who are the, sort of there on the other side watching. So what is the collective action really we need to take, Jennifer, to bring in a kind of more equality in a very unequal world that we live in?
I think one, we need to start with at home, the language that we use. That's very important. Okay. For example, I would say if we write doctor, if it's a man, we just write Dr. Datta, for example. If it's a woman, Dr. Mrs. Why is it that we have to write Mrs. for a woman when she's a doctor or doctorate? That's number one. I think language. Number two is awareness. Awareness required at the school level, starting at the school level, community very important, college level. I just link to what she mentioned about the use of media. So I would link it to life skills education for the youth,
Right.
because we're talking, they're a growing stage now where they're very obsessed with how they look like, their body image, and media shows that fair is lovely, fair and handsome, brown is not the thing, right? So I would link it to body image, and because if they have a positive body image, they will not crave so much of likes per se in the virtual space.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think awareness is the key.
And what about the silence factor, that most of us remain silent? Ardanista, is it time right now really to speak up?
Yes.
Yeah. Enough of silence. Why suffer in silence all the time?
Like what I used to say, that everyone wants to be heard, but nobody is listening.
Right.
Yes.
So it's time that all of us, we need to listen to each other with an openness and sensitivity, and come together to find out solution to a problem. I think we need to listen to all genders and all issues.
Absolutely. Pida, quickly, as we are almost winding up this program.
Yeah, so I think as much as we are using the digital world, that much equal education on the safe usage of internet and the social media platform is very, very important.
Yeah. And Jennifer, it's now time, isn't it, that change should come, right? If not now, then when?
True.
2023, we have crossed, I mean, 21st century. We are so accessible to all kind of modernity with modern ideas. Why are we not modern when it comes to, bringing in equality? So quickly, as you would like to address to all of our viewers, quickly with your last closing comments.
Yeah, I think I'd like to say we need to call out our bias. One thing which is important is reflection. So when we acknowledge a bias, we look at what is implicit in our subconscious, who influence us to think in a particular way. So calling out a bias will help us address any issue. Like what you said, for example, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's abortion, whether it's reproductive rights. So we need to call out the bias and reflect what are these implications of these biasness. That's my message.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Like always, we have so much more to speak, but then we always run out of time. But then we are so happy that most of the issues at hand could be discussed, could be brought in the fore once again, so that we give some message across for something to trigger in some minds, and hopefully the change to come in the days ahead. Right? Jennifer, thank you so much for being our guest today. Ardanista, to you too, and of course, Pida. It was a pleasure speaking to you and to hear what you had to speak to the public and to all the viewers, the women especially who are listening to this program. Well then, dear viewers, there you had it. I hope you have found this discussion very, very interesting. It is said that the best barometer of the progress of a society is how a woman is developed or not developed. So I hope this barometer that we have in our society will scale up to that level where we can soon say that we live in a gender equal world. Thank you so much for watching this program. Until next time, from all of us here, it's wishing you goodbye.